And a very good morning, and we are live here once again at the Myrtlewood Factory Showroom, and we are just 3 miles north of North Bend, so it's kind of Coos Bay, North Bend, and we're kind of in the Hauser community, aren't we?
We're located in the Hauser area.
And Mary is with me. Mary, thank you for being with us today.
Good morning again, Dave. Good to see you again.
Thank you, and Dave is here. He is the manager of the Myrtlewood Factory. The Myrtlewood Factory Showroom. Now, exactly where are you located and how can people get here?
We're actually 4 miles north of the McCullough Bridge. You can not miss us. We have a giant parking lot, and it's a giant green building.
And Myrtlewood, you know, there's biblical references to Myrtlewood. So Myrtlewood has been around for a long time. You can make lots of things out of it. You can make perfume.
Perfume is actually made out of the flowers of the tree. The flowers bloom every year around the springtime, and they're actually a light yellow color. And they take the oil out of the flowers, and they make perfume and oil out of it.
And we actually yesterday took a tour of the Myrtlewood factory. They actually make bowls and certain items that you're going to be seeing here, like this baseball bat. We're actually turned on the lathe here.
It was turned on a lathe by our bowl turner. It's called a Myrtlewood Slugger.
Myrtlewood Slugger. And then these bowls, beautiful bowls. And you're going to watch on a video here in just a minute just how these bowls are made. Very interesting. And then we're going to be taking a look at butter knives.
That's actually a spreader.
Spreader.
Used for mayo or jam or jelly or butter, whatever you'd like to use it for. It's actually really good also to spread frosting with. And
you'd be amazed at the things you can do with parts of the myrtlewood. The myrtle flower, the myrtlewood tree is the historical. Even here in Central Oregon, sorry, I'm from Central Oregon. Here on the Southern Oregon coast, they actually during the Depression made myrtlewood coins, and that was what they used for currency.
Yes. Actually, the bank here in the early 1930s went bankrupt, and they had to close the doors, and paying their employees and people who had different jobs throughout the city, they actually paid them with myrtlewood coins, and they were from 50 cents on up to $1.
So if you're driving by the Oregon coast and you're driving it would be just north of Coos Bay, North Bend. You're going to see a big green sign out front that says Myrtlewood Gifts. And this is where the Myrtlewood factory is, and that's where we're webcasting live from this morning.
We are actually one of the oldest, actually we are the oldest Myrtlewood factory here on the Southern Oregon coast.
And right now, see this bowl? We're going to take a tour of the factory, which we did yesterday, thanks to Mary, and we talked to Bob yesterday?
We talked to Bob and Mike. Bob is the bowl turner, and he was roughing out yesterday, and Mike is our finish sander.
And we're going to see just how this bowl was made. So stay with us, and let's take a tour of the factory.
Myrtlewood without a permit, even on private property now. So the lumber companies go out to the woods, and they cut it down, and then they bring it into the mill, and the mill gives it to the broker. And the broker brings it to us. We have a really good wood supplier right now. This is the form that we get it in, and then we will go into the factory and we will show you the rest of the process.
So this is a hardwood.
Yes, it's 33% harder than oak.
And it only grows in Southern Oregon coast in Israel.
It also grows on the Northern California coast. So it takes 150 years to even get to a 15-inch diameter. It's a real slow-growing, non-deciduous tree.
So are we in danger of losing our supply of myrtlewood?
That's why it's protected now. Because years ago, back in the 30s and 40s during the Depression, they actually started just cutting it down. And that's where they finally said no more and put where the special permit comes in. So, yeah. The next process to getting our lumber in is we cut it into blocks. This is what our blocks look like. They're very green, they're very heavy because they're wet. We have to keep them wet in the kiln, otherwise they will crack and then we will lose our product. And then the next step after we do the cutting of the blocks is we bring it over to the chop saw. And what they do with the chop saw is they put it over here. And they actually cut off the corners. After we're done using the chop saw, we bring our product over here, and this is actually what it looks like. after we've cut off all the edges. And then now it's ready for Bob to start roughing out. And this is Bob.
Hello, my name is Bob Youngblood.
How long have you been turning, Bob?
I have been turning since 1981.
Wonderful. And who taught you how to turn?
My mom, Donna Jean Vandervoort, she taught me.
Okay. And what is the process we're going to be showing?
Well, what we're doing today is we're just doing a rough out of a bowl. It's just roughing it down so I could do a finished turn later. You're just taking down and taking out most of the wood on the inside, so it's a drying process, so the bowls don't warp and things like that.
Okay. Oh, Bob is actually putting the bowl blank on his lathe because he's getting ready to rough it out. Roughing it out is the process he was explaining about how he takes out the center of the bowl because it helps with the drying process. He has to tighten it down, otherwise it will fly off and it could actually hurt someone or hit the ceiling and put a big hole in it. As you can see, Bob is turning the bowl round so that way we can put it in our kiln to dry. And these are the chips that people actually use. Our chips, they use them for potpourri, and they also use them for in the ground for horses because it's nicer for the horses to lay on, and they're also great for to put in your dog beds because they repel fleas. As you can see, Bob has very many tools that he uses with. He actually makes them by himself. They all have different blade angles on them. So there's this shape. And then as you can see, this is a little bit smaller for more intricate work. Then this is a little bit smaller also, or a little bit larger than the other one though. And he uses all of these to do all the wood turning. This is the next step to our process. This is actually a roughed out bowl that Bob just got done doing, and they're very wet and green. The next step is that we put them in our kiln number 4, to start drying, and the drying process can take anywhere from 30 to 90 days. After the bowls come out of the kiln, after they've dried, this is what we call a rough out bowl. This is the process before they go to Mike. And then with Mike, as you can see, this is Mike. He's our finish sander. He's been out here for 13 years. Mike, how did you learn how to start sanding?
Just by training. I came in as a swap college student, half a day at college, half a day here. And then Skip, the original turner, took me in and trained me how to do bowls, starting out small, working my way up.
And how long have you been out here?
About 13 years.
Thank you, Mike. Mike's going to show us the process of sanding a bowl now. There's very many steps to sanding. He uses discs. He uses like 3 or 4 different grits of discs. And then when he's done with the grits of disc, he also has to hand sand. Mike, how many grits of disc do you use in a day's time?
Start out with 5 grits, beginning from 50, 60, 80, 120, and then 180. And then I'll go to the 120 paper and hand sand with 120, hand sand with 220. And then I'll move forward to polish them out with what they call Scotch-Brite pads.
As soon as Mike gets done sanding, this is actually a finished sanded bowl that we have right here. This is our finished product. The next step to doing it is that they bottom sand it right over here on the bottom sanders, and then we take them into the dip tank, which is done with mineral oil, and then we actually let them dry overnight, wipe them off, and then the next process we do is we bring them over here, and then we wax them with beeswax. Myrtlewood.
And that is how you make a Myrtlewood bowl. Mary, thank you very much for taking us on a tour of the factory.
Happy to do it.
So after what we just saw there was the beeswax, and the Myrtlewood, the bowl, is treated with beeswax, and then you also use a mineral oil of some kind.
We dip them in mineral oil first, and then we wax them with the beeswax on a grinder.
And live, we should mention once again, live, we are here at the Myrtlewood Factory Showroom, and we are located 3 miles north of North Bend. As you are southbound on the highway, is this 101?
101.
101. You'll see a big green sign, Myrtlewood Gifts and Gift Shop, and that's where we are. And we're broadcasting live this morning. I'd like to welcome you to the show. We also want to come to your community. We want to take EVM Media on the road with TJN Live, the Jesus Network, where we take a look at what God is doing around in your community. Then there's a veterans aspect to the show, and that's from 7:30 to 8 a.m., and then there's something brand new we've started. This is the second week we've done it, called The Pulse. The Pulse is where we come into places like the Myrtlewood Factory and see what's going on in the community, and just share that with you all around the state of Oregon. The eventual plan is to take this also beyond and go into California, Washington, and Idaho with the show. And it's a lot of fun. We get to meet a lot of interesting people and see how things are made, like you just did. Let's talk about Myrtlewood. Now, Mary is, I understand, the resident expert here at the Myrtlewood Factory on Myrtlewood.
I've been in and out of here for going on 7 years, and there's quite a history to Myrtlewood. Myrtlewood only grows on the southern Oregon coast and into northern California. It also grows in the Holy Land. Now, in the Holy Land, years ago, back in the biblical days, they used to give Myrtlewood bowls to the brides as wedding gifts. Now, different minerals in the ground will throw off the different colors in the wood. That is why you get such a variety of the wood. This is actually what we call tiger striping in the wood right here. And like I said, the different minerals will just throw off the different colors in the wood. That's why you get such a variety. As you can see, here's another good example of the different minerals. And this is all made out of one bowl. This is actually a 12 by 2 fruit bowl. And we get a lot of different artisans that do stuff for us. We do things third party, and we get a lot of stuff in also on consignment. We also do a lot of things still here in the factory. We make our own tables. We do rustic bookends. We do vases still here. We turn our own bowls. We do cutting boards also here. We this bowl right here is actually made by a local artist out of the Charleston area, and this is all hand done. He wets the wood, and then he actually steams it to get it to bend to the form that he'd like it at. And like I said, he is from the Charleston area. Everything in our store is actually made in the Oregon area. It takes 100 to 150 years to even get to a 15-inch diameter with the Myrtlewood tree. Different, like if the tree sways, we get an effect called fiddleback, and I don't know if you can really see it or not, but it gives off this golden effect to where it actually looks like stretch marks in the wood. This is what we call spalted, and spalted means that it's right before it rots that they actually can still use the wood, and it gives off this color effect with it. Like I said, this is more of the tiger striping. This is a spreader that we use. You can use it for mayo, anything you'd like. This is a cheese knife. These are made by a local artist in the Bandon area. This is a prime example of how the different minerals go into the ground. This actually has an orange effect to it, and that is because there's a lot of iron in the ground. And Myrtlewood also likes the different moisture area around here on the coast. That's why it only grows here and down into Northern California and in Israel. This is the perfume. The perfume is made out of the tree, the flowers of the tree. They actually take the oil out of the flowers and make perfume out of it.
Now, we talked about the biblical references, and for our listeners who listen to watch TJN, you know, there's a lot of references in the Bible to Myrtlewood.
Yes, there is.
For example, in Isaiah chapter 41, verse 19 through 20, I will put in the wilderness the cedar, the acacia, the myrtle, and the olive. I will set in the desert in the cypress, the plane, and the pine together, that men may see and know, may consider and understand together that the hand of the Lord has done this. The Holy One of Israel has created it. It's Isaiah chapter 41. Zechariah 1:10. So the man was standing among the myrtle trees, answered, These are whom the Lord has sent to patrol the earth. There's also references in Leviticus, Nehemiah, Zechariah, and a lot of references to Myrtlewood in the Bible. So Myrtlewood's been around a long time.
Yes, since the biblical days. I believe that it came over, you know, from Sir Drake Francis is where it came from.
Sir Francis Drake.
Yes.
That
Sorry.
guy. That's okay. But it's absolutely beautiful. And then the smell of Myrtlewood and the smell of this perfume is really beautiful. Mm-hmm. Very, very nice.
And these are what we call the shavings from the bull, as you saw yesterday. And actually, they use the shavings for they put them down in the for horses. They use them as a flea repellent for dogs. You can put them in your dog's bed.
One of the things that I found was very interesting was, and we've mentioned this already a couple times in the broadcast, was that they actually, when the bank closed in Coos Bay, back in North Bend, in the Depression, and they didn't have any currency, so they actually made currency out of Myrtlewood.
Yes, they did. They actually had Myrtlewood coins.
And they used it to buy and sell things, and so there's a lot of history with Myrtlewood. And you can still buy these fine art items. A lot of these items are made here in the store at the Myrtlewood Factory Showroom, 3 miles north of North Bend. And then many of the other products are made by local artisans. And one of these things that I do want to show you, I want to be very careful because we don't want to injure it, is this beautiful lighthouse. And you might want to explain it while I pick it up here a little bit. So it's this beautiful lighthouse. There's a local artist.
There's a local artist named Fred Ugla who makes these for us. He does a lot of product for us. We get these in on consignment. This is all different colors of the Myrtlewood. As you can see, like I was saying, the different minerals in the ground throw off the different colors. That's why you get such a dark versus the light right here. Whereas, yeah. So.
Now, as far as the salad bowls and the forks and the butter knife and the cheese cutter, you can actually prepare food with it. You can't heat it and burn it, but you can put salads and so on and
Yes,
so
you can
forth
use
in it.
salads in them. You can, and the neat thing about Myrtlewood is that after you use it, you just wash it in a mild soap, and then you dry it, and then you re-oil it. And we make a product here that's made out of beeswax and mineral oil, or else you can just use mineral oil on them or olive oil.
And you can also buy the leaves, the Myrtlewood leaves.
You can
What do
cook
you
with
use
the
those for?
Myrtlewood leaves, actually, like you do a bay leaf. And the Indians, for years, have used them as teas and as herbal remedies.
Amazing. Amazing what you can do with the Myrtlewood. The baskets, and we've already showed them this. This was made by a local artisan,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, that's Fred Ugla again.
Okay. Fred has been busy. Fred, if you're watching this morning, thank you for all the fine work you do. And the table that we're using this morning is made out of Myrtlewood. Now, Myrtlewood, the myrtle tree is a protected tree now, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You have to have a special permit to even cut it down on private property. Even if it falls in the river, though, you just have to leave it lay.
Really?
Yes.
And they're doing that to protect this valuable product that we have. Now, is there any... It's not an extinct species. Is there ever any danger of us losing Myrtlewood? Probably not.
Probably not.
Okay.
What happened back in the early 30s and 40s is that they went out and they harvested it all. And that's what made it protected, because they just leave it to lay. And now you even have to, when the companies go out and cut down trees in the wood, they have to take it to the mill, and then the mill takes it to our broker, and our broker buys it from the mill, and then our broker planes it and gets it ready for us for our bowl stock and brings it to us.
So what you saw in the very first part of the video, where there was a big, must have been a 8x8 piece of timber there, that came from your broker.
Yes.
That had come from a mill, and you get it in that section, and then you cut it in pieces, and you make bowls and other products out of it.
Yes. We also make our own cutting boards here also, so.
So how long has the Myrtlewood Factory Showroom been here? It's been here for quite a while.
Roger Clark, actually how it all started was back in 1911. A gentleman bought it, and he was with, excuse me, I have to use my cheat sheet.
That's permitted.
Duncan's Myrtlewood. It started in 1911. It was called Bayview Manufacturing. And then in 1964, John Reiher bought it and called it Bayview Manufacturing. And then in 1970, Roger Clark bought it, and Roger Clark is the gentleman who actually had this mill built. And they had 2 shifts running. There was a morning shift and a night shift, and there was 20 people per shift. And his whole object was to have Myrtlewood up and down the whole coast. There was actually a company in Ashland that was by the Shakespearean Festival that he started. And he, once his shift started going, he started wholesaling to all these places. And he owned a lot of the companies.
So does the product, speaking of wholesaling, does the product come from here and go to other stores in the state?
At this point, it does not.
Okay. So if you want these nice products that you've seen today, you can buy it online?
You can buy it online at www.myrtlewoodfactory.com.
Or the better way to do it is to come to the Oregon coast, and like I did yesterday, actually the sun was shining yesterday. It was a beautiful day on the Oregon coast.
Yes, it was. Today it's a little bit cloudy, but that doesn't keep people away.
Because another nice thing about the weather here on the Oregon coast is, even though it's cloudy in the morning, the sun breaks through and you've got a beautiful day, such as what we had yesterday. So if you like a change in season, well, some days you get all the seasons in one day. No, don't get any snow, but we had a little rain yesterday. But
Every once in a while we get snow here.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
How much in a year?
Oh, not much. Maybe it just depends on. It usually comes about 3 to 5 years we get snow, and one year we had it to where we had no power for 3.5 days.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen pictures where there's actually snow on the beach.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
And then the ocean would come up and melt it, and it was quite an effect.
Yes.
But that doesn't happen often.
No. Like I said, every 3 to 5 years we do get snow.
Oregon coast is a lovely place to be. We've been here for a couple days, been in Myrtle Point. We've been here in Coos Bay and North Bend. We had a concert here the other night. A lovely place to be. And we do want to ask you to stop by and say hi to the folks here at the Myrtlewood Factory Showroom. It's 3 miles north of Bend on Highway 101, north of North Bend, Coos Bay. So if you want to find it on the map, just look for Coos Bay. And North Bend is a little bit north of that, and then we're a little bit north of North Bend, about 3 miles north of North Bend. So just go north.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful items. Again, what is your phone number if people want to call
Our
for
number,
information?
we have two numbers, 541-756-2220 or 541-756-2582. And you can reach us by either. And our hours are usually 9 to 5. It's starting winter. And then in the summer, our hours are 9 to 6.
Now, you've had people from all over the world visit here, haven't you?
Yes, we've actually had a lady who usually comes once a year and during the summer, and she buys her husband one of our paintings of the Indians that Alex Mosier does for us, and then we ship it to the United Kingdom for her.
And if you're an Oregon State Beaver fan, we got a deal for you. There's a wagon here with orange wheels on it. It says Oregon State. It's a Myrtlewood wagon, and this was made probably from an outside source.
Local gentleman right up the road made it.
Beautiful wagon. And you can put your little, if you're a beaver believer, you've got your beaver wagon here made out of Oregon Myrtlewood. So it's Oregon Myrtlewood, Oregon State beavers. Ducks, do you have anything for duck fans?
Yes, we actually do.
Okay, I'll hold the mic and you can run and get, this is kind of an addition for the ducks. We've got to, oh, there we go. The Oregon duck. My daughter is a beaver, so I'm a beaver believer, but I understand I'm outnumbered here in the showroom today. There's more duck fans than beaver fans.
Our bull turner, Bob Youngblood, made this, and it's actually a two-sided piece. And he painted this and burnt it himself. There we go. We got some Oregon ducks here, too, today.
And it's a lot of fun. If you're looking for furniture, there's Myrtlewood tables. There's a bookcase that's a display case. Will you sell the bookcase?
No, that's made out of oak.
That's made out of oak, excuse me. Clocks, furniture, carvings. That's a Myrtlewood wood
Those
carving.
are actually called intarsia.
Okay.
We have local artists down in the Bandon area who make those for us.
Okay. So it's a wood carving with a depiction of a lighthouse. And above it is, looks like a salmon.
It's a bass.
It's a bass.
Yes, with the cattail coming out of it. And then we do have local artists. Roberta Schmidt is one. She does ocean paintings for us. And then we have, like I said, Alex Mosier, who does a lot of wildlife and Indian paintings for us.
So if you come to the Oregon coast, take home on some of the Oregon coast with you and some of the beautiful Myrtlewood artifacts that they have here. And items and handcrafted items, and absolutely beautiful. Mary, it's been fun.
Thank you, Dave. It's really nice to meet you, and I've had a wonderful time.
And it's been great to actually see a bowl being made. Do invite you to stop by and talk to our good friends here at the Myrtlewood Factory Showroom, again 3 miles north of North Bend, north of Coos Bay. We do want to remind you that we've got a special show coming up this Friday. Now, this Friday we're going to be back in Bend, Oregon. And the city of Bend is taking a look at restructuring and revamping its water treatment facility extensively and spending quite a lot of money on it. It's somewhat of a controversial topic in the local Bend area. We will have the director of the water department for the city of Bend, Mr. Tom Hickman, and he will be taking your phone calls live on the air here on the Pulse, EVM Media, and the website is evmmedia.tv. The phone number on this Friday show that you can call to ask questions of Tom is 541-323-2882, 541-323-2882. And we'll have another show for you tomorrow from Bend, Oregon. The show from Bend, we actually did an interview yesterday with a pastor in the Bridge area, which is south of Coos Bay and south of Myrtle Point. And we'll have that show for you tomorrow on the TJN part of our show, which is 7 to 7:30. So, you have a great day. Hope you're on the Oregon coast. If you can't be here today, hope you make plans to visit soon.
Thank you. Have a great day.
And be blessed and have a great day. It's been good to spend this morning with you, and we will see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Bye-bye.